Hello, everyone. This is the 19th of July, and you are in The Gathering, an independent media channel giving platform to the many voices of truth. And we have with us today Wisdom Keeper Siavoya with the Mending the Hoop Council. Come on in, sister.
Welcome, everyone, to the Mending the Hoop Council. This is Siava Y, also known as Lisa Wolf, daughter of Muriel and Philip, granddaughter of Sadie and Lillian, great-granddaughter of Yetta and Rose, mother of Alicia and Misa, grandmother of Lucy and Charles. And I want to welcome us with a traditional greeting. We give thanks to Sky Woman, the first being in the physical world, our grandmother Moon, the beating heart of our Mother Earth, where people dwell, and to all the women from the youngest to the eldest, as they are the mothers of our nations, to the streams of water, to the pools and the lakes, and all the life that lives within, to the corn, bean, and squash, the three sisters of sustenance, to the fruits, to the medicinal plants, to the forest trees for their usefulness, to the animals that serve as food and give their pelts for clothing, to the great winds and the lesser winds, to our grandfathers, the thunders, to our eldest brother, the sun, the mighty warrior, to the winged creatures that live upon the winds, those messengers of life that reveal the Creator's wishes, and to the great Creator that dwells in all things, giving all things useful to the unified people, and is the source and ruler of all health and life. And we're here for the mending of the hoop and the healing of the earth. And I'd like to welcome everyone and ask that everyone introduce themselves and let us know if there's anything that needs to be brought to council today, particularly related to the restoration of matrilineal sovereignty for the original peoples, and also for the people of the four directions, white, black, yellow, red, who are here for the mending of the hoop and the healing of the earth. Thank you. Shonda, if you'd bring people in. Let's see. Erica, would you come into the circle?
I'm sorry I was muted. I'm already in the circle, sister. I'm Shonda with the Earth Mother Network, and my spiritual name is She Who Weaves. And I'm in West Central Texas on the High Plains bioregion of West Central Texas, and headwaters of the Colorado, traditional lands of the Tigua Kickapoo and the Lapanapache. And I am here representing the Earth Mother Nation as pipe bearer within that region. And it is an honor to be here. And at this time, I am free with the council, and I will pass the feather to Sister Erica. Come on in, Erica.
I am here and present. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I am grandmother to Spirit of the Frog Clan here in the state, which we call the state of Washington, within the Cascadia bioregion, on the southernmost tip of the Puget Sound in Olympia, surrounded by the beautiful forest which you see behind me. I am a great-granddaughter of Delilah and granddaughter of Carrie of the Cherokee Nation. And it's an honor to be here and to be a part of everything that is happening. And I'm grateful. Thank you.
Let's bring in Sister Jenna. Join us, Jenna.
Thank you. I realize I have difficulty saying my family names. And I'm just in so much tears from beautiful ceremonial music from before. So forgive me, I'm crying. Or bless me, I'm crying with you. So I'll say I am daughter of the earth and feel the connection to my ancestral lines in Wales and Norway and the deep forests of Germany, and feel very intentionally placed at home here, where I live on land of the Dakota people in very deep gratitude for the water here of 10,000 lakes in Minnesota. With a feeling of deep kinship with the equine and canine kingdoms and queendoms. Deep gratitude for the flying ones who seem always to try to help me have a higher perspective as I look at my little role in this little world and seek to do my part to heal the sacred hoop. And I'm so grateful to be here. Pass the feather back.
Thank you, Sister. Brother Eagle Eye, join us, please.
Greetings, everyone. Nia Kihumiskizik Napu, Eagle Eye Man in English. Grandson of Flora May, son of Beverly Victoria, and son of Brown Spotted Eagle Woman of the Eagle Clan who adopted me many years ago. I'm honored to be here, and I'm just here to offer my services and knowledge that I have in regards to customary international law, be able to help the people. I pass the feather back.
Sister Kate, join us, please.
Yes, good afternoon, all. Golden Wolf had me get my mirror hat on as he's reminding us how it's such a mirror world. So I will say hello from the middle of the country. I'm in South Dakota, the middle of the United States, middle of Turtle Island, in South Dakota, in the western part. I just live on the eastern side of the Black Hills. I'm having all this crazy technological issues. So I now can only charge, my phone wouldn't charge today, the iPad won't work. So I apologize for being off video. I am here in the Missouri River watershed. It's actually called the Bear Butte Creek watershed. All runs into the Belfouche River to the Cheyenne and then down to the Missouri River. The seven bands of the Ocheti Sakoween can almost hear the cries of the sun dancing rolling through the hills this week, and honored to be in circle with you all.
Thank you, Sister. Sister Tracy, join us, please.
Oh, hi from the very southeast coast of Australia. I'm Tracy and I live on Gunai Gurnai Aboriginal land. I'm very grateful to be here as the daughter of Mari, who's the daughter of twins, and twins keep going back. I'm just grateful to be here. I'm half asleep, but I'm very present and very touched by the music and the teachings and sharings of Golden Wolf. I am deeply grateful for this platform to join you all on from down here. And it's always a weird hour, but it doesn't matter what hour. It's the presence in the now. I live with animal family. I'm a herbalist. I live with plants. I live by ocean. I love the sand. I walk on the beach. It's my medicine place since I'm a child. And I'm just grateful to the great forces that allow us and bring us and live through us and just to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister. Brother Wolf, join us, please.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Let me unmute now. Brothers and sisters, thank you. It's my honor to be here. My given name is David of Goliath, but my ceremonial name is Osawi Sumia Mike Gold. I come to you from the unceded territories of the Comox, Qualicum, and Pontledge First Nations people of the North Vancouver Island, British Columbia region. My bioregion is the southern coast of the Comox Peninsula in the Strait of Georgia, specifically Denman Island. It is the eastern coast of Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada. Because Beaver Pond and the Swale wetlands are the components of the headwaters of Denman Island, but we have the largest Class A salmon stream, and also where the herring spawn. All waters fall into the Pacific Oceans. I am surrounded by the rainforests, the ancient forests of British Columbia. These are, I am also a voice on the Kinship Council, White Thunderbird. I thank you for the opportunity to be with you in one circle and be the change while the earth needs and seeks. I am grateful and I count my blessings in each needs. I am so grateful for bringing the line in us. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Booth. And with that, we return the talking stick, sister.
Thank you, everyone. I wanted to ask Eagle if he could take a few minutes once again to outline why it's so important to restore matrilineal sovereignty and our place in that. If you could, I have to let everyone know that we're doing construction here today, so we're working on the roof on the building here. So,
Hi. I guess the reason it's so important is because it is what's known as the supreme law of the land. There is nothing higher on the land. It's the Creator's law, follows the Creator's governance system. That's where it draws its authority from, and the consent of the people. Basically, it's the only methodology for taking back title to the territories, taking it away from the Romans who were just presuming and assuming jurisdiction over it. That's it, basically, in a nutshell. So I don't know what more you want me to say. It's about organizing under the original system, your clans, knowing your clan, having a head clan mother, a chief to speak on her behalf, and members to her clan. Clans make up a tribe, and a tribe is a sovereign nation. A nation of savages or barbarians, depending on which tribe you come from, the area of the world geographically. Any questions?
and what is that based on?
Well, it's based on nature, law of nature. If you look at the animal kingdoms throughout the natural world, you'll see that the female rules. Queen bee, queen ant, horses, elephants, geese when they fly, deer, moose, elk, bears, wolves, all have a head female that runs the society. Savage comes from the word silvictus. Silvictus means those who live amongst the trees. So if you're living amongst the trees, you're living under the law of nature. You're living under the Creator's system, so that's where you draw your authority from, the original tribal custom and usage, which applies to everyone, because everyone, whoever you are, comes from a clan and a tribe. You go far enough back in your history, you'll come to the tribe that you come from, the clan that you come from, and it's traced down your mother's side matrilineal. Your clan comes from your mother, your mum's mum's mum's, back to the beginning of time, basically.
And can you talk about the the treaties that that are still standing that uphold that sovereignty?
Yeah, there's a lot of history that's not taught in the schools, specifically relating to the foundation of international law, which is based on 6 treaties: the Noah's Ark Treaty, Peace Pipe Treaty, and the Canes of Authority Treaty. Noah's Ark, Seal of Solomon, Palladium of Troy, Wampum Belts, Canes of Authority, and Peace Pipe treaties. So those 6 treaties are the very foundation of international law, from which comes the law of nations, from which you get international law. So customary international law is the source of international law, and it's what the civilized are bound by: tribal custom and usage, clan mothers. After these treaties were signed, the white tribe went back, defeated the Romans in warfare. The Romans had to sign an unconditional surrender. This is in 408 AD. And part of the terms and conditions of that treaty was that they would have to do everything humanly possible, because it's how they described themselves as humans, to protect tribal custom and usage. And the Indians were to be given the credentials to travel amongst the hierarchy of the world. They can go anywhere in the world. That treaty was called the Eye of Isis, Camel's Eye, and Eagle Bowl Treaty. And it's what the Romans are still bound by to this day. But for it to apply to you, you've got to be the same kind of individual that it was signed by and on behalf of, which are signatories, which are those that are believing in and practicing in their ancient religion, law, original ways. Clan mother system of government, over the head clan mother over a clan, which is what the movie Avatar was all about. If anybody's watched that movie, it was all about customary international law. They joined their clan, sent out runners to the 4 other clans when they decided to fight back. And as Meredith says, there are 5 basic clans that make up a tribe, and a tribe is a sovereign nation. So in that movie, he sent runners to the 4 other clans. So what's 4 plus 1 make? 5, which is a sovereign nation, which holds what's known as cession jurisdiction, territorial jurisdiction, which is held by the Cursus Omissus, which is the head clan mother. Cursus Omissus in their white man's court means a case that is not provided for in the law or statute and is to be governed by the common law. And a lot of people get confused as to what common law is in its original meaning, because there's more than one kind of what they call common law: statutory common law, merchant common law. But common law, to its root meaning, is the usages and customs of immemorial antiquity. Usage is the repetition of an act over a long period of time. Custom is the law that comes from usage. You can have usage without custom, but you cannot have custom without usage. So your usage would be the repetition of selecting a head clan mother and having a head clan mother over the clan. She is the sovereign. Her sovereignty extends over the members of her family, her clan. Immemorial antiquity, memorial, out of memory. Antiquity, antiquity means antique, antique means primitive, primitive means original. So common law is the usages and customs, if anybody's ever heard of tribal custom and usage, of immemorial, out of memory, original, antique, antiquity. So what were the usages and customs of immemorial antiquity? Well, even in the Bible, it says in the beginning there were the tribes, right? Because in the beginning there were the tribes. before the Romans ever existed, setting themselves apart and becoming the Romans and living by their own rule of law, which is called the Corpus Juris Secundum, second law of the land. And basically they imitate the tribal peoples, because the Romans have what are known as gens, Gens. But to qualify to come from the gens, you've got to be white European descent. So anybody outside of the white race, we say white race as opposed to the white tribe, because there are a difference, is in their mind inferior to them and are considered animals, which coincidentally enough, as a savage, you are. For example, they used to sell the Indian on the meat market up until the 1850s, alongside the short swine, and the Indian meat was known as long swine. And apparently it tasted a lot like the short swine. That's why it was called long swine. So up until the 1850s, you'd have the rabbi, bless the meat, and there you go, it's kosher, good to eat. Because they're not considered, in their eyes, human beings or equal to them. They prefer to consider all the other peoples below them. And this is law. So genocide, as an example of the meanings why it doesn't apply. The word genocide, death of the gens, means just that. But to come from a gens, you've got to be white European descent. So the tribal peoples, North American Indians, for example, are not white European descent. They don't come from a gens. What was done to them was not genocide because they don't come from a gens. What was done to them is clanocide, death of the clan, because genocide, what it encompasses, is exactly what they have done to the Indian, but you can't level that charge because they don't come from a gens. They don't meet the requirements legally for that to be the charge. If you look up the meanings of the word clan and gens, Gens, they'll both say family as the meaning. And if you look up the word family, family is a slave appellation. So anybody in their legal paperwork, say of the family, you're saying you're a slave. You come from a clan or a gens. We all come from clans, actually. So anyway, this is just part of the deception of their language, right? When they say the white man speaks in forked tongue, well, that's the truth. That's the legalese, as opposed to the English that people speak on the street, right? Think they know what they're talking about. Whereas in the legal world, it has a totally different meaning. It means the exact opposite of what most people consider or think it means. Any questions?
Questions? And I'd like to welcome Asinibago Way. And I would hope that I'm pretty sure that she has something to speak about of great importance. So welcome, Asinibago. If
Hi.
if you can speak.
Ani bonjour. Hi guys. My name is Atanaba Gokwe. English name is Jeanette. I'm Ojibwe Nation from Ontario, Canada. I just got home. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Well, I've been learning a lot about law and stuff like that. So we're learning about governance and stuff like that up here, and I'm trying to implement the matriarchal side of my family because our children. So I'm fighting for our children because we're having things going on up here. It's called the Millennium Scoop. So with the residential schools, they took a lot of our children back in the 40s, 50s, 60s. And this is our grandparents, right? Our great grandparents. And then now they're doing it to our children. So Canada right now is they're calling it the Millennium Scoop, and then the chiefs are fighting for the rights of children and rights of our families. But I find that a lot of them are colonialized into the patriarchal system. So a lot of us women are networking and getting together to help save our children because they're causing a lot of trauma on the mothers, including myself. I lost my child. I was raising my child in a good way, Anishinaabe way. I was homeschooling her, ceremonies, and they said that I was isolating her and keeping her out of society, which to me was fine because I wanted to raise her Anishinaabe way. They didn't like that. And then also with the sexual abuse from the residential schools, this happened too. So that happened to a lot. It's happening a lot to our children. So I've been networking with a lot of other women across Turtle Island with white women, black women, yellow women, all kinds of women that are really putting up a fight to try to save our children. So this is the things that we've been doing, and I've been learning a lot about the lawful, what is legal, studying Meredith Quinn's stuff, right? So, and I also been finding the old treaties. I've been really looking for like the hard copies of the real treaties, right? So I've actually got a few copies and I've been putting them together because this is what I'm going to try to use to go against the CPS agency because they're overseeing 7 of our First Nations here. And last year alone, they made $21 million off a nonprofit organization. So I've been calling them out and they don't like that. I wrote into the chiefs. The chiefs say they can't do anything. And it's a constant battle, but I'm doing it. There's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 step forward, 1 step back. So it's my passion. My passion is for my children, right? And for all the other children, because I know what my daughter goes through, what I've gone through, what our families are going through. And then as the women, and I know that it's us together with the help of good men, we can do this. And I'm really believing in it and the mending of the hoop. I'm understanding that and how we need to be together to help one another, to teach one another, to share, to learn, to unlearn, whatever it takes, right? So, and I just want to say miigwech, and that's my thing. That's what I'm doing up here, and I'm a part of a healing family. So I come from matrilineals of healers. So I also do medicines, and I do a lot of things like that as well, learning. So I say miigwech. That's who I am.
Miigwech.
Connie. Yeah.
So as you restore within your own family,
Mhm.
the matrilineal way,
Yeah.
how is that proceeding? And do you see hope in that as far as
I do.
dealing with the forces that you're dealing with? How do
Well,
you see that?
I see it because I sit with my great aunties. So my great aunties are healers as well. So my great auntie is part of a 13 grandmothers council up here. So I'm her Shkabewis. So I sit with them. And then there's another group that's called the Tech Elders. So they're about protecting the earth, the air, the waters, right? So they are going against the province and the Canadian government to stop them from spraying because they're destroying the trees. So I sit with all these different elders all the time and I'm learning, right? And then the things that I'm learning from talking with you all or different other people, right? I share that knowledge with them. So, and then also, creating governance is how we got to create our own governance as women to bring back and encouraging the clan systems, right? I said, we have to go back to the clan systems. I said, because you could keep going towards the government and pleading to the government and you can go have these protests. I said, but nothing will change. I said, because that's their system. It's theirs. It's designed by them. So I said, we have to turn our backs to it. We have to and then what happened was they had this one politician that's coming up and he's really, they smooth talk and they're saying, oh, we're going to do this with your natives in Canada. And he's really smooth, right? And I was listening to him. And then what about 10 people that sat up there in the AFN, which is the Aboriginal First Nations Assembly? All of them stood up and they all turned their backs to him. So they turned their backs while he was talking. They all just stood there and they turned their backs to him. And I was like, right? Because Doesn't matter what they say, because they've been doing that for years and years and years. It's not going to change. Right. So we have to, and then there's some reserves I found out west that are actually building up their clan systems. So they're bringing back those old ways, right? And this is what I think that we all have to do, is bring back our clan systems, like really and truly. And I'm encouraging my own community too. I'm sharing teachings with them. We have our own little website. We have a grassroots website. And all I can do is educate them, right? Because I'm understanding and I'm trying to teach them, you know, and some people oppose it because they don't want to let go of that power, right? They get attached to the money and the power, and it's the men, right? But it's the women, we're realizing they're just going along with it, right? So it's to women that we've been doing it. Like, we're the ones that still feel how hard, you know, we're the ones crying for our children and the breaking of our homes. And so I just keep going. I have a vision, and by the time I leave to the spirit world, I hope to see it through. That is my goal, right? So I'd like to come and see you down there too, Lisa. Me and my auntie were talking about it. She said, we'll go down there and see you. Look at getting a little motorhome and just to go and network and meet with everybody, and get all those teachings, those old rules, those old laws, right? Find those runners, find those people, right? Start networking, start learning from one another. I'm a Turtle Clan. My mother's a Turtle Clan through my matrilineal line. My father's a Bear Clan. So I kind of got those both inside of me. So I know my obligations, my responsibilities to my clan system. So I'm a little bit of both of those. And then my grandfather's a Crane. So like there's a lot of things that I know. And then growing up in Anishinaabe, right? Growing up in ceremony. That's it's really helped me a lot. And I just got surgery on my eyes. So my eyes will be like blinking a little bit because I just got like lenses on them. They're healing still. Yeah. I just like to say miigwech. Yeah.
Thank you, Stone Woman.
Yes.
Red
Miigwech.
Clover, come on into the circle, please. She has her hand up.
Yes, I was wondering, some of us who really don't know our origins too well, how do we find a clan? How do we discover our origins enough to relate to a clan? And as far as that, or really our bioregion, can you direct me to how we can, you know, I know that I've heard that the European bioregion is opening up on 8/8, that the Doug Tolchin map is coming out. And I have the Aviala, the Americas. This is the water map and the bioregion map there. But how do I direct people to discover what bioregion we're in? And can we discover what else is on my list? Oh, I wanted to just, I understand in the early days there was these land grants, different ways of obtaining land. And I know where I live, all of the land that's owned, if you will, it was all homesteaded, you know, and really just a little more than 100 years ago. And so, you know, in the rules then, where you had to improve the land, work with Mother Nature, there had to be improvements on the land. But that still remains in families that have been subdivided since. And I know the rules of indigenous people trying to get homestead land were like 25, you had to jump through hoops for 25 years before you could even be eligible. And I don't know, it seems like everything takes me back to land use and land ownership. And so I really appreciate, you know, like Jeanette's skilled work in the treaties. And we know all the treaties that have been broken. So acknowledging these facts and moving on from here, I guess, is what, you know, it stimulates me to come into these conversations. And as I say, how do I kind of get more earth origins? You know, I feel like I belong to the worms and the raspberries. Anyway, those are some thoughts.
Eagle Eye, would you like to address some of that about the research on the clan system? I can help with the bioregion.
Well, all I would say is, in the beginning, each tribe was put in their own quarter to take care of their territories, right? So the white tribe, for example, Europe sort of area, and you get over into Asia, and then you got Africa with the blacks, right? That's as far as your original lineage, so to speak, right? You just follow it down your mother's side, whatever that is. That will take you back to that original beginning. Pretty much it.
And Eagle Eye, if you could clarify this, I believe what Kate is referring to is, when the land grants were being given, that was to intrigue the people to go west, to pioneer what lands had been taken away from the First Nations people. So that was after, after the genocide, that was to encourage the white settlers to come and settle the land. Is this not correct, Eagle Eye?
So what I
Yeah.
found was the proclamation of 1763. The proclamation of 1763, I was doing research on that, and that is still standing. Right? They made their little amendments and stuff, but nothing was changed from it because they couldn't do it without the signatures of our ancestors.
Yeah,
So a
well,
lot
the
of,
Royal.
yeah.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say the Royal Proclamation of 1763 is nothing more than an assumption and presumption of jurisdiction anyway.
Yeah.
It's the same with the land patents to make people move out west looking for land and that. They didn't actually grant any land because it's still all Indian land. It's unceded and unconquered.
Exactly.
You're dealing with the Romans, and the Roman rule of law is all presumption and assumption, period. They don't have any law that they go by. They go by assumption and presumption.
I learned,
There's-
what I learned today too was about the USA, the United States is actually in the District of Columbia.
Yeah,
Did
the
you know about
corporation.
that? Yeah,
The
it's a corporation.
Yes, that's the United States. The
Yeah,
United
United
States of America is a different entity again.
Yeah.
That's the original constitution.
Then you
But I
can go
mean,
under naturalization, onto a nationality. Like there's so many like things. It's mind blowing the things I was like, wow, they've been tricking so many people, you know?
There's a
well,
whole
that's their
section.
game.
There's a whole section I wish I could play, but it's 40 minutes long, that I recorded of Meredith Dakota Proclamation, where he goes over in detail what has created the conditions of alienation and severalty that created the system that makes it so that the original peoples can't hold title to their land, and outlines the difficulty as long as they're not signatory Indians to be able to own their own land. Is that anything that you can speak to, Eagle?
Well, alienation, severality, and guardianship are the conditions that all civilized nations impose on their original peoples because they want to claim the land, right? So they don't want the originals claiming it. But I mean, it doesn't matter. As long as you go back to your original way, you can. It's yours to claim. The women are the landlords. In English is one way of putting it.
So would
So,
that
I
be
mean,
like not like claiming that we're not minors anymore? Would that be a step to do, Eagle Eye?
well,
Because
yeah,
I know,
this is mixing their world in their commerce and what they've got going on, but all of that is under the European codes and ethics.
yeah.
What I'm talking to you about, customary international law, is under the original codes and ethics. It has nothing to do with that. You're a savage. Like, what does this person and coming an age of majority come into that? It
Right.
doesn't, right? Like, that's your game, your world, your foreign country.
But
It's
they gotta
foreign to
listen
you.
to us somehow, right? Like,
Well, if you reform in this way that I'm talking about, what Meredith taught, you
yeah.
don't suggest to the white man what he is to do, you command him what he is to do. Because as the queens, the sovereigns, That's what you do. You command, you don't suggest. And the white man does have to listen. But you've got to be that kind of entity for him to listen. And most, right now, Indians are classified as treaty Indians, for example, which means they're prisoners of war. So prisoners of war don't really have any rights, do they? The reserve is a concentration camp. The chief and the councillors are the wardens, basically, administrating the concentration camp. But you see, all that's still an assumption and presumption, because the First Nation has a banned list and all those Indians are on there. But you see, they can't, the majority of them are just signing up once a year for that $5, say. But that white man can't say that that's his Indian, because that Indian hasn't actually sworn allegiance to the crown. But any chief and former chief and councillor is a different matter, because for them to sit in those positions, they do have to actually swear their allegiance to the crown. So the white man can say that that actually is his Indian because he's got him by his own allegiance, right? His own word. So those ones can't be tribal kind of thing because they've sworn their allegiance to a foreign entity. But the other night, the rest of the Indians that are on the banned list could at any time take themselves off of it and go back to being their original beings as savages, clans making up a tribe. And the tribe has say-so over its territory, which is bound under a linguistic concept. Wherever the dialect is spoken is how far the jurisdiction runs. So it's not like lines on a map for a white man's country, where they put it down on paper and pen on the map, a border. The borders, wherever the language is spoken, wherever the dialect is spoken, is how far the jurisdiction runs.
And so if Jeanette is the right type of Indian, then she should be able to succeed in getting her daughter back.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep.
Because I've been doing paperwork and stuff, and I've been trying to, so I don't even know the next steps what to do to separate myself from that government. I've sent them stuff, made a declaration on who I am, part of my land, you know. And then now there's another steps. There's so many different things. I don't even know. And I don't want to keep doing the wrong things, you know, like. So create a clan system.
Yep.
Pull the people together. Get the women together.
Yep.
Get the, yeah.
That's exactly it.
Because we have a governance already that it's not even followed, but this is part of my territory governance and it's not even being followed. I was created so long ago, which I'm like reminding them, like, this is who we are as sovereigns. It says we're sovereign. This is our governance. You know, I go to my aunties and stuff and I talk to my cousins. I talk to some of the men. They're understanding it too, the younger men coming. Right. So, but right now they're waiting. Everybody's waiting for this money because Canada just paid out a big treaty money of $10 billion. So everybody's just now waiting for this money.
Yeah.
And once that comes in, and I'm kind of worried because a lot of our people are not well, you know, and
the money will kill them.
Money will kill them, you know.
Yep.
So everybody's getting like 125 grand, and that's not even half of the pay that we're supposed to get from to the $4 a year, part of treaty money that's been there. So even the youth who got 18-year-olds are going to have that money, you know, like it's like pretty scary.
Yeah.
But I know I just have to keep going, you know. And I don't know how to separate myself and tell them I don't want to be a part of this chief and council thing, separate myself somehow that way, you know. So I've been doing a lot of research in the Canadian government like, you know, learning these different words of naturalization because I'm a nation, you know, I'm from the here, I'm from this land. I'm part of this land. My DNA comes from this land. You know, I don't want to be part of that system. And then when I go to court, they're saying, well, we have jurisdiction over you because the United Nations said so, the Canadian government said so. I said, no, I didn't say so, you know, because it's all corporation. So I'm understanding that. And the guy said, where's the contract? I didn't sign anything with you, you know. I call myself a signatory Indian too. They just totally dismissed me, but this is at this lower level. So I keep going. Next, like King's Bench, right? People tell me go to King's Bench, go up to the equity court, right?
Come
And this
on
is where
in.
I'm gonna bring the treaties, bring the stuff that I know. You know, stand firm.
Red Clover has her hand up. Come on in, sister.
Oh, well, yeah, I was just gonna wait for a little space there, but yeah. So Jeanette, this buyout, is that like an admission of we screwed up? This is what the treaty, you know, what it's an admission of guilt, or it's an attempt to take sovereign to claim what they can do what they want with the land? I don't know. It just seems. I know the Lakotas, you know, they've never taken the money for the land. It's not for
Mhm.
sale.
But see, everybody's all hungry for that money, right? So that's the thing that gets them. I don't care about that right now. The only thing I care about is just getting my girl. People can have that money. If I could pay somebody, you know, help me, just as long as I get my girl free. Let us live our lives. I was living in the bush. I was taking care of us. Like, you know, I live simple, right? I live off the land. I garden, you know, I pick my medicines. We're very healthy people. But like I know that we can correct it. I can say to them that I, you know, I wasn't part of signing those treaties. You know, I did not have my signature on there. I did not authorize any of this. I didn't give my power over to nobody. You know, I hold that myself. So this is where I fight back, right? And it's like because I fight back, then they come at me harder. But I'm not gonna quit. I'm just gonna keep going. I'll never quit. So I just keep learning. I'm just gonna keep going, right? So I still got a lot of life ahead of me. And I won't stop. I'm not gonna stop. Because it's for my child, it's for the other children, because there's a lot of things that are going on in this world and they're hurting us. They're still hurting us. I'm tired of it.
Okay. Eagle, are there examples of success with the restoration that you know of and that you can share?
Examples of success with what, sorry?
The restoration.
Yes, as you know, Meredith took back title to Seneca, New York, back in the 70s. He taught the people there for 6 months in a garage, 6 nights a week, he said, about sovereignty. Then they did a declaration. I think it was about 350 peoples, the clans, a head clan mother, a chief to speak on her behalf, and members to each clan. Sent the declaration out to the world kind of thing, and wrote to the Governor General of the Bank of England to get the name and the address of the white clan mother that was holding title to Seneca, New York. And then when he got that, he wrote to her and told her that she did not have cession jurisdiction because it was based on the Treaty of 1786 or something like that. But that they were not signatory Indians, therefore they didn't sign away cession jurisdiction. And that's the same for the treaties 1 to 11 in Canada. The Indians that signed them, when they signed them, were not sovereign Indians, and that's why no land was signed away. All those treaties were the terms and conditions of the surrender of the said Indians signing on to it. So yeah, it has been used in the past, and that's what has to be done. Those, like I just said, 350 people sort of thing, right? Organized in their clans. You can get the 5 head clan mothers to make a tribe, and you can write to the governor of the Bank of England and get the name and the address of the white clan mother that's laying claim to the title to your territory. Write to her and tell her that she doesn't have it. And this applies around the world as well. Australia, New Zealand, it doesn't matter, right? The Romans have got white clan mothers spread out around the world claiming the titles to the territories. The fictions of the free democratic countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada is exactly that, a fiction. That's not how the title to the land is held. It's held by the women, whether it be the original women of those territories or, in their absence, it's the Romans, because that's who you're dealing with, the Romans. That's what you're in right now, the Roman Empire.
Yeah. Questions, comments?
So how do you speak to the white European male ego about this, woman's ownership? And, it seems when Europeans first came here, I know that Jehonesay was kind of in charge of things. There was a peace fort called Cayuga in upstate New York. And, and we all know how much was taken from the long house, all the rules of the long house. Anyway, what was my question? I've kind of lost it now. I apologize. Just kind of up in arms about this. It's like, yeah, Jeanette, you ought to have a choice. And no, this is what I want. This is the compensation I want. And my heart goes out.
Just stop stealing the children.
Yeah.
Protect the nations.
That would be a good start, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Erica has her hand up. Join the circle, sister.
I'm confused. I am not at all familiar with the Canadian justice and legal systems. I studied constitutional law here in the United States, and that I am familiar with. But to learn, we went through that in the United States with children being stolen and put into schools. We have a nonprofit, and I hold dear to me the sacredness of the mother and the rights of the mother. We have orphanages in Africa, and I received some information and a request from one of our orphanage leaders who is Afrikaan. And he wanted to incorporate into our school systems there children from homes with families. And I will never surrender to that idea, because our children belong with their families, with their mothers. If anything, if those families are so impoverished and they need support, then finding a way to provide support to the families with the children, that I will support. But I will never support anything that takes children from their mothers and their families. And I just want to add this. This is what I've been feeling so much lately. We all belong to the mother, to Gaia. We are her children. And every time harm is done to a child or to another human being, whether it's through war or violence of any kind whatsoever, whether it's just an evil word spoken, she weeps. She weeps for all of us on the planet. And if we were to all be recalled from this planet back to the spirit world right now, our beloved mother would fully recover, because she has the power to do that. So we hold a sacred responsibility to our mother to understand the responsibility, the great responsibility that each of us individually hold. And when we are centered in source energy, which created everything with our beautiful mother, and we become that which we wish to see in the world. I've heard you use a word a couple of times, and this is not a complaint. It's just merely an observation. Fighting. When we stop fighting and start to working towards goals, where we're coming from that place of peace and love in all that we wish to create, because I truly support you and my heart is with you. And I am happy to start researching your laws so that I get a better understanding. I live in the United States. I don't live in Canada. There has to be a way to circumvent. That's what lawyers get paid to do, circumvent the law. Find ways around it.
Yes.
Because an injustice to one is an injustice to all, regardless of where it is.
Yeah.
This morning, I received a request from an orphanage that we have in Rwanda, where a young woman from the village was hired to go in and clean a house. And she was forced into a sexual relationship. And then she was scorned by the village because she was pregnant out of wedlock. And she came to the orphanage. And our orphanage leader, who is a man, delivered that baby. Beautiful child. But yet there were no diapers. There was nothing for the care of an infant available. My heart could not stop. And at first I felt a real anger over any one human being that could take advantage of another human being. In this country, that would be considered rape. Even if she consented out of fear, it would still be considered rape. And we immediately came up with the aid and was able to send it to provide medical care because she was hemorrhaging and it looked like she might die. And I sent him out to find a wet nurse for this baby somewhere in the village. I'm sure another woman had recently given birth, to nurse that baby until the mother is fully capable to come back and to care for her child. We all owe a responsibility to each other in this world, because an injustice to one is an injustice to all. And I could just feel our beloved mother crying out in agony as I feel her tears for you. And the situation right now, your children need to be with their mother. I can just listen to your heart. I know you're a good mother. And I just want you to know we're here to support you.
Thank you.
I'll keep showing up here and I'll start researching law in Canada and see what I can find out.
Yeah, it's in Ontario, Canada, and the provincial courts here, right? So, and I'm not the only mother this is going through. There's so many moms and families and aunties and grandmothers, and they're just taking kids left and right. It's money. They get like 3 times the amount of money for having Aboriginal children in care. So we call it like they're bounty hunting our children. They're bounty hunting people. because they get lots of money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you, Sister Erica.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you, Erica. So I'm gonna jump into the circle really quick because I've had a long week, sister. I'm probably gonna make you host and let you carry on throughout the night. But I really want to state, as you know, Clan Mother, Earth Mother Nation, we've been through sovereignty. We're 38 years into this now, and 21 years into our sovereignty. So the thing is there that I really would love to see. We run under something completely different because I do not like the state because of its far right wing, but I'm blessed to have been able to be in the state of Texas to do this because Texas is a republic and Texas understands sovereignty. So, what I'm trying to say is what I would love to see, Eagle Eye, if you would be so gracious to do this. We've got these recordings. I'm hoping to have time now with our new programming to start going back over the recordings and actually documenting, putting spreadsheets together. We need to present this to the world, not just these recordings on Cieva's YouTube channel. I mean, we need to do a massive, massive explosion of the truth. And I would love to see if we could. I'm very good at starting social media campaigns, and I've got a very vast connection network within social media, very many different organizations. I would love to see us put something together to address this, kind of like, a video. Now they've got AI programs where you can type the entire prompt in and it'll make the video for you, you know. And Becky Big Canoe with the Kinship Way did just that. She just put the specs of what the Kinship Way is and it produced an amazing little video. And it's and we have people in our network that can do that, that are AI ready and have all these things and know how to do this. But it is the prompt. I need the data for the prompt. So I would love it if you would work with me as a consultant to get this together. And then once we get it together, let's get it back into the council for approval. And once we've got that, let's go bombard the system with the truth, because that's about where I'm at. I'm tired of talking. I love these talking circles and these sharing circles and these council meetings. And, we have just brought the Union of Nation Council meeting online for Tuesdays now, and it's about time. So I'm looking forward to that. We start next Tuesday. So here's where I'm at. I think we all have our asset of how we can help, how we can step up. And that's what I can do. If you can help put it together as far as the data, make sure it's logistic, make sure it has that it's bulletproof. It needs to be bulletproof. And I think you have that wisdom. I think you're the wisdom keeper we've been waiting for to get that done. So if you can do that, then let's bring it back to the council, get it approved. And from there, just all I got to say is watch out, because I will move in and I will bring every thousands of people into the middle of this. But I do not have the skill set or the knowledge to put it together. So I would need your assistance, brother. So that's where I'm at. Jenna's here. Sister, I'm going to make you co-host. So y'all remember that. Talk amongst yourself, Eagle and Cieva, see how we could put this together. Dr. Jenna, come on in. This is important. We all understand this needs to happen. So where did I lost you? Come on in the circle, sister. Cieva, baby, much love. I'll be hanging around, but I really need some rest.
All right.
Thank you, sister.
Eagle, any response?
Well, I'm willing to help in any way that I can, right? That's what I'm here for.
Beautiful. Thank you, brother. Go ahead, Jenna.
Welcome.
Thank you, Sister Shonda. And I just want to introduce that Jimmy is here. He's my partner. And I told him that we were in this council, and especially that Eagle Eye was here with some of this wisdom about international law. And, I've spoken about the land where my home has been and the challenges that we're facing right now. And I feel very much that the wisdom here can help me make decisions, and that is a process that's upheld by the wisdom of the land, asking to be a focal point so that these themes of sovereignty and our return to living under natural law can be something that is a movement. And I just wanted to share this huck feather, red tail huck feather that dropped on the
Beautiful.
land after the last time we met. I think it was a Friday, the first time that I had hopped on. And then I had a meeting with a very intuitive, gifted homeopath, and was speaking about the land and some of the questions. And then there's a man living there now who's paying rent. And so I have all of this conflict of being a landlord, taking money that's related to the land, being in this bank system, all of this. And so Jimmy and I have talked about this since we met a year ago. And he knows that this is very near and dear to my heart. And then we have a lot of questions of practicality of how and what and when and with whom. Um, and this man is having a hard time right now paying. And I'm going, okay, this is interesting, because I think what that means is we need to recalibrate what our agreement is so that it's in honor with the land. And as I was talking about this, I looked up while I was on the Zoom call, and I saw a hawk flying over. And then I went back home, saw this man's name is Leaf. He and I both in our, I think also in his Norwegian, in his maternal line. I know my maternal line runs all the way back to Norway, and his, I believe, does too. I know his paternal line does, and I believe that also his mother. So I want to check on that and see if there's any relevance to some of this possible route to freedom in the connection between us as peoples and this land, and the original peoples and this land coming together might be there. So I come back, I talked with him briefly, park and walk over some grass that I had walked my way out on, and this feather had not been there, so it had dropped in the course of that unfolding. And I've, since I met Leaf, had a real sense of that he is to be there as a steward, and that there's a purpose in that. There were some rational questions I had, like about payments and how then am I going to eat and how are we going to, carry on. Kate, you've met Jimmy on Michelle's calls, and Luke, his son, his little 3-year-old boy, you know them. Yeah. So we've had these challenges, and we just keep, going day after day. And but I knew, because I stood where oftentimes there's a power surge of that land as I was pondering, what do I do? I'm leaving. He could be incoming. I've got these monetary needs. The land needs stewarding by someone who really gets like that there's a big energy happening here, and this isn't going to be like normal, like white person business, rental occupancy, like, and like things are going down and gonna rise up, and it's all a big deal. And I just felt through the power of the earth, travel up the bottoms of my feet, through my legs, up to my spine, just open my heart that just says like, this is a yes for him to be here, invite, and then see what unfolds. And so we're deep in that process. And, time is ticking as we lead up to that November 27th date, which would be the day before American Thanksgiving, which I find so perfect, but also eerie in, the challenge. So I'm just speaking this so that, Jimmy is kind of up to speed, that these are things that are spoken here in this space, and seeking a wisdom way through that really honors the sovereignty of the land, of us as peoples, of us reclaiming our indigeneity to the earth. And then with the naming on the street corner being Mound, being that indigenous, and Northrop being that African, veins of pain where the tears and blood of the peoples of traveled up and down the Mississippi River, and then that bringing us on this shared journey together, Jimmy and I. You know, I take it as a sacred place that is mythologically capable of being written in as a story to really teach humanity. So anything that we can do to get clarity on some specifics and how, so that I can more increasingly walk the walk, and then either for Jimmy to be able to endure that insanity with me, or to be able to ask the good questions that he's really capable of with his bright mind of, you know, what about this? What about this? What, you know, can we do X, Y, or Z, and who do we include would be really helpful. So pardon my rambling, but thank you.
I'd like to speak to that, Sia, but Sister Jenna, what amazing. You know, we have spoken about your situation. And Jimmy, would you like to unmute and have a voice on the council?
He may be, let me see, he's kind of in and out.
Yeah,
A little bit with
maybe
reception, because he was
listening in the background. Well, sister, anything that you feel upon your heart, just ask Eagle Eye. He is the wisdom in the room at this time. And so you're always welcome here on the council. And I'm sure Sieva agrees. We need to clarify this for all humanity. We need to get back to the clan mother spirit, and that's all there is to it.
right. So yeah, I'm just like, what are the very practical how to do it? Who needs to be involved in order for it to be like you were saying, bulletproof, you know, like so that it is a solid movement. Because I'm not
Well,
sure
I,
I understand exactly the specifics of, you know, how would we do this?
you know, I don't know if I take a minute and, you know, read the declaration for our nation that we're hopefully offering to people of the four directions to be able to ally with, which would mean you would also be part of the nation. But, you know, the practical steps forward, you know, really does become, you know, the issue. You know, how do we place the lands into nationhood?
Yes. Yes.
So,
How exactly do we do that? And how do we do it on the timeline? And then how do we, I think, also do it ceremonially so that the timing is cadenced with whatever I feel like the cosmos wants to organize? And then what is the visibility of that? What is the tone of the messaging? And I think it needs to be with the strength of great love that does not waver from connection of peoples and place, like an uncompromising love, but love, and a way that maybe can be done so that it somehow it's like the trickster spirit gets really awakened in me through this pondering, where it's
yeah,
like I love that, like you do not ask the white man, you command, you tell the white man what it is. The white woman in me says, yes, I have that in my spine and in my voice to do that. And then, oh, now I have trauma, you know, to kind of tend to in my belly and my body as I do that. But I'll do that work and hone it so that I can increasingly be a clear voice vessel. That command. And then also, like I think of, okay, this is just 1 acre, you know, lot, but it is also among the trees. And I'll just the presence of the trees as we speak, where there are 5 giant maples, and there there were about 50 pines, and now there are a bit fewer because they've had to be thinned, but they were planted there by the son of the person who built the home, and they've come and they have kinship, and I know that those trees are very much there, so that this is a way of being amongst the trees, very literally there. The problem is that they're dying because they're planted as a monocrop. There wasn't an ecosystem to support all of the roots and all of the intelligence. So again, it's a teaching that that land can offer of this is a broken way of having been tended, and we can retend according to the intelligence of ecosystem wisdom. But the trees are there speaking very strongly, and I feel delighted to know that that is the translation of the word savage, and honored to claim that word for myself and any who dwell there in the way that they know. And Leaf does. He's like, these trees, I just love being with these trees. So he'll be on board. I'm sad that Jimmy maybe can't hear. He's hearing somewhat, but it's he said he heard, but it's hard to hear because he's driving from place to place, and they're having a very big storm in Louisiana right now where he is. So the rain is coming down loudly. If we do it in a way that invites a curiosity, and this will be a challenge because this area is very wealth dominated with a way that guards possession, and yet I know that there are a number of people who just don't understand that this is the history, and they maybe don't know that the invitation could be one of a coming together to co-create something better, where there's not loss, there's an additive ability to be more free. And maybe there are some losses to some people based on how they're choosing to set themselves against nature. But I think that there would be at least enough of a small collective that we can do something powerful. And I feel that the lake there is already ringing out with a message that can come with the voice of the people in the drum. And as Shonda was saying, that we can broadcast this. And I feel that there's an impending like drum prayer ceremony where we could have every bay of those waters sounded by this call, and connect that to the creek that runs 22 miles into the Mississippi, then all the way down the Mississippi. And we can connect to the Nile, and we can connect to anyone who wants to join along their own watersheds and give a global voice to this. I don't know the timing. Is this to be now as we go between here and November? Is this to be done more privately but documented, and then to go out in big waves? Do we do this as a wave of many of us attend the Unity Earth calls, and we know that there's a momentous gathering coming for International Day of Peace in September. I'm working on some initiatives with that. Does it go hand in hand with that? Do we intentionally keep it somewhat separate so that we get resource pools running in different directions and messages sent out for other purposes? I don't know, but I just bring it all here as food for thought, knowing that if we bring our wisdom together, something, we'll want to be able to come forward. And really getting very specific about how this could be done would be very helpful. Yeah, and I'm still confused a little bit on how that is. So if in the chat or in any of the posting online, if those key treaties and declarations, you mentioned the 6, like the Noah's Ark, the Solomon Seal, and any of those that I can study, where I can, try to find a way to get my eyes on them would be really helpful. Thank you.
Eagle.
Yeah, where you'd find copies of most of those, I honestly couldn't tell you. But apparently the Cleopatra's Needle in Central Park there
Okay. Wow.
has a copy of that treaty on it. Now, I've read their description of what it says, but as I can't read that particular language, I can't tell you if that's what it says or not, but what it actually says. But Meredith does say that there's a copy of it on that needle.
Interesting. Anything that you can send that would orient me, like to how to find that, would be super helpful. I don't know if
The
I'd Google search
Cleopatra's Needle.
sufficient. Yeah.
Well, that's, you can search. One thing, when you're searching for anybody here, don't use Google as the search engine. There's other ones, but there's a Russian one, Yandex, Yandex, which is pretty good. Gives you better results than Google.
And
But
is that trusted in terms of like privacy and?
well, and what it finds, right? Google hides things that Yandex doesn't. So
Okay.
when you're looking for certain things, you're more likely to get a better result on that than you are on Google if it's something that they want hidden. But I mean, you can look that up. The Cleopatra's Needle. That's in sitting in New York Central Park, right? I believe. And you should be able to find the images of the carvings on it and what have you. But all I know is I did speak when I first sort of learned about this stuff almost 20 years ago now. I spoke with, not sure how long ago, when Chrétien was prime minister, but I spoke to his political and international legal advisor for about an hour and a half. And I questioned him as to all these different things, these treaties, causa submissus, cession jurisdiction, and he confirmed all of it, kind of thing. And as I said, I spoke to every head cop of every province at that time, and they all knew exactly what I was talking about, like a signatory Indian, what a signatory Indian is. I've come to find that pretty much actually all sergeants and above are actually aware of what a signatory Indian is. And I've used it. I said when I told the story of that time I got pulled over, no license, insurance, registration, and he ended up not charging me with anything and drove my car home for me and gave me the keys back. I drove right by him an hour and a half later again, with a double bed on top of the car, under the street lamps, so I was well illuminated, as opposed to the first time it was on a dark highway and he was coming towards me and he put his lights on, he knew who I was. And I just drove right by him an hour and a half later and he didn't even touch his brakes. Because the funny thing was, he did say as he was giving me my keys back, you understand, if I see you driving again, I will have to tow your car. Which is obviously when I laughed at him, because he told me that at the beginning of the encounter, that he was going to charge me and tow my car. None of which happened, right? So I know that it works. Like Meredith says, I know that it works. I've used it. I can say that too, right? I know that it works. I've used it. But it is knowing words to you, knowing who you are, right? It actually just comes natural. I mean, if you can just place yourself, imagine being on this land, say 1,000 years ago, how were the people living? Like, how would they even think? They wouldn't even know of the United States of America or Canada or the crap, right? To them, whose land would they be on? Their own tribe's territory, right? Like, just think like that. It's literally that simple. Just imagine it like that. Because that's actually how it is. If you go back to it, it's still all Indian land, like North America. It's just the Indians don't know who they are anymore.
Does that mean
Neither,
then, does that mean that I need to then be folded into the original peoples connected right there?
not necessarily, because you come from your own clan and tribe as well, right?
Okay, and then because I speak this language here, then that is
Well,
not.
I think as the white tribe, our language is gone because English isn't the original tribal tongue anyway, right?
Yeah.
Murder says the white tribe was known as the Cleopatra tribe,
Really?
consisted of Northumbria, Mercia, the Saxons, the Angles. I think there may have been one more, 4 or 5 tribes, right?
So if
That
I
comprised.
stand, just to be clarified, if I stand in the honor of my matrilineal line, knowing that I come back from women to women to women to women to the earth,
Yep.
then I can stand in sovereignty where I am
Yep.
and
Yes.
declare
Everyone can.
that nobody else has right to purchase this from a bank and kick me out. Or how
Yes.
yeah.
Well, there's also certain things you can do. This is what I've been learning about the last couple of years. I've come down, right? My introduction into law was international law and Meredith's teachings, right? And this is a whole different layer and level of law, right? It's like the supreme, like the ultimate law, clan mothers, tribal custom and usage, all of it. All of the stuff in the white man's law is under the European codes and ethics, but they've got these things, the trust, right? Like, I don't know how much people are educated as to what's going on in their fictional world, but the birth certificate being a certificate of evidence of trust, okay? Your estate is held in trust. Well, you can collapse that trust, have that estate transferred into your own private trust, which is also, by the way, you know, in the figures of like billions of dollars. There's many things you can do in their world as well that, how shall we say, mirrors true sovereignty kind of thing. So Meredith says in his Foundation of International Law that, what was I saying? What was I saying just prior to that? So many different.
To collapse the birth certificate trust into your personal trust.
Yeah. Yes, you make your own trust in the private. So you can set up yeah, I was going somewhere else, but you can set up a PMA as well, right? You set up an unincorporated, unregistered private members association. Because a private members association, this is a etymology, right? It's like that. The old saying, your wish is my command. If you look up the meaning of the word wish, trace it back through, it gets to command. Literally, your wish is my command. That's what wish means, right? So you can make wishes as a sovereign as well, because that's a command. But yeah, collapsing that birth certificate, you can do that, put it into your own trust in the private. But society, PMA is a society, and a society is a nation. So when you're setting up these PMAs, you're actually setting up nations, foreign nations, right? You're foreign to every other sovereignty nation in the world kind of thing, right? Until and unless you make treaties with them. You got to like literally just think as a sovereign nation. Anything that Canadian government do, the United States government can do, you as a tribal governance can do too, right? You got all the entitles, privileges, you actually got a superior one. Being true de jure, that's what I'd call de jure. Just thinking about their language as well, though, right? The duplicitness of it, meaning like how when you look at suffixes and prefixes and suffixes, for example, de is a no, means no, right? So even you've heard of the terms de facto and de jure, right? So even a de jure, no jure. It's like a declaration or a claration. You got that? I was thinking about that. The American Declaration of Independence. So it's a no declaration of independence, right?
That's true. No
Well, it is.
Family, I want to, excuse me, Eagle, I want to jump back in here really quick. The Earth Mother is a PMA. We've operated under this sovereignty exampleship that he just gave you for many years. And please, y'all pay attention to the energy in the room. You've had two hands up for a while. And I'm going to take off for a while. Much love, everyone.
Hello,
All right. Yeah, let's welcome I believe that we have Red Clover and Erica. And Erica, would you come first, please?
I'm going to ask a favor from those of you who are speaking to issues that are so important to you, to begin with creating your own videos to speak to these issues and then getting them out to us here to begin a media campaign, because hearing directly from the source, not secondhand, or as an outside party, but this is affecting you directly. And in sharing your stories with us in the form of video, we can then send them on. Because we have many filmmakers who are in our circles. And I certainly know the power that Shonda has. And that would be a first beginning. So if you would do that, you can send them directly to me, or if Shonda would prefer to have them sent to her, I'm going to put my email address in the chat right now.
Okay, thank you. Red Clover?
Yeah, I wanted to take that clan mother question a little bit further. Because Eagle, I heard you say you just need to go back to your own matriarchal lineage. And I know I've been in circles with Lakota women, and it amazes me that, you know, that when we say I am Kathy Jane, the daughter of Mildred Margaret, the daughter of Emily Jane, that's as far as I can go. These women go back 17 generations, and it blows me away. Anyway, so the orphaned among us who are looking for clan association. So I can go back to Bremerhaven, Germany in 1887. The name was Kemmer that they immigrated here. Little man, and he married Gillespie. Well, the word Kemmer in German means caretaker. But you know, I guess I'm not any closer to my clan affiliation with knowing those sketchy facts. Can you help me any further there? And, you know, I guess while I have the mic, you know, I was just trying to say any suggestions of how we can talk to people who look at you like you're nuts, you know, when you want to suggest such things. And that's why this truth line seems so. I know when I mean, I was in my 40s when I learned this whole story of the Haudenosaunee and Jehonzase and the early peace forts and the power cities on this continent were, you know, Chaco Canyon and Teotihuacan and St. Louis and Cahokia. You know, I don't know. I just lost things that seem to tie history together for better for a person, understanding this matriarchal lineage. So, how do I speak to it more? And what the heck is my clan yet, brother?
Okay, yeah, what exactly did you said you could trace your ancestry back to Germany to the 17th something? Okay, what more did you want to know, sort of thing?
1887. So, yeah, I mean, so knowing that my clan came from Germany, does that give me any further clues to my clan? You know, my lineage is from there, but
Who's do you know your grandmother's grandmother?
I only know my grandmother. I can't go back any further. So I know they came here from Germany. And that's
So
really all I know.
so there's a good chance the Germanic stock then? Your bloodline? German? Do you think it
Very
would be
much.
fair to
Yeah,
say there?
Bohemian and German. Yes.
Yeah, do you have any like because I know it's not kept amongst common folk, right? Knowledge of their, you know what I mean? They can only barely recite back to their grandparents, right? Not even who their great grandparents or their great, you know, like forget it, right? Whereas opposed to the original sort of way, you knew that, like you said, the ladies know back how many generations, right? And they do. Yeah, that's how it common was because the women kept knowledge of the clans as well, right? Who was what, you know, bloodlines and things, so they don't intermingle where they shouldn't, sort of thing. But all I can say is like if you think, you know, from Germany, then the German tribe, right? One of the clans of the tribe. And if it branches off somewhere down there you don't know about, well, it would actually go that way or whatever, right? I can't say it, you know, if you don't know either, right? Exactly. But I mean, like I said, it would be just whatever your mothers, right? Back to the beginning kind of thing.
What about working with, I mean, White Buffalo, Rainbow White Buffalo, and Rainbow Buffalo Nation, and working with the kinship way and incorporating something new? Would that be valid?
Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't be. For those that don't know the old way sort of thing, but that's some individuals or trickery of their words, eh? Even individual means person. But
Right.
just as an aside, that's one's own spiritual journey to make that question, right? Really,
Yeah.
answer that question.
Sitting Bagua, thoughts, feelings as you're going through this process with your relatives, and your own personal restoration.
My thoughts about that was I just gotta keep talking to the people about it. Right. And the more that I talk to them about it, the more education that or knowing that I get, right? I just have to keep sharing that information with them. And it's like putting that seed inside them, right? Sparking that fire, right? Because a lot of them are sick too, and like of what's happening, especially like the elders of the women, and they're like the chiefs won't listen to us. They won't listen. I said they won't listen. I said, so we have to go back to our ways, right? As the women. So a lot of them right now are really considering creating a governance of the women, bringing the more women to have these gatherings of just the women coming together, right? And then starting with the children and the youth. So I'm really encouraging, like, we need to start implementing this into the young men of our teaching, our grandfather teachings, our grandmother teaching, right? Because it's they're being raised in the school systems with the colonial ways and the patriarchal system. So, they're not respecting women. But I find I learn a lot sitting with the elders, right? And so what I learn, I'm really respectful with them, and then they know that I'm learning. And so my great aunties, they support me, and they know how much I study, how much I'm reading, the things that I'm doing, and I'm really, out of love so much for my people, right? Love for my children, love for my people, my community, that, I know I got to change that word from fighting, right? But I want to see the change. I want to see the positive change. I want to see us come together, right? And I just could keep going and keep moving forward, and I keep praying. And I just got good news. Guess what? Because somebody stole my pipe. My pipe just came back today. It just came back today.
I knew it was going to.
Thank you. I'm like, I got it back today. So it was on the table. So somebody, whoever took it, must have brought it back, right? So I'm really grateful. Like, we live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of people on drugs, right? So there's a drug dealers over here. We got another drug dealers over here. So there's a lot of people that are crawling around and doing, not really good things on my reserve, right? So we kept putting it out there, right? I just bring it back. So I just got it back. So I'm so happy. I'm so happy because I'm gonna do some amazing work with that pipe. I'm gonna go sit with the grandmothers and do that. Yeah. So that's good news. Good news. But I know just I gotta keep talking to people, right? I keep planting that seed, feeding that fire in their hearts, waking up their hearts, right? Because a lot of them, they don't want to feel. I'm finding a lot of people don't want to feel, right? Like they're disconnected. So that's all I can do. By me feeling, that ripples out to their feeling, right? So I'm just praying all the time for that. And wake up their hearts. Yeah. Make much, everybody. Thank you. Make much.
Any other questions, comments? Jenna,
This just goes back again. Eagle Eye, do you know anybody who has gone through the process to dissolve the corporation of their birth certificate? Do you know anyone who's like gone through that and what the process is, what the outcome has looked like for them so far?
No, not fully yet, but I do know somebody that does know somebody that's knows the process, and I'm going to be knowing that at
Okay.
some point here shortly. That's like in their world the big kahuna.
Yeah. Yeah, Jimmy reflects on that a lot, and we kind of have had this thought that that might be the thing that needs to go hand in hand with how I approach the land issue. That,
Yeah.
that those things really support one another, and then would provide. I mean, basically, I've put everything of my own resources and everything that I can do for years now since well, Spirit basically just kind of closed my old career with some very sudden and decisive events, and I knew that it was to orient me towards deep listening in this way in 2017. So this has been 7 years. And so I've, extended every bit that I can so that I can be in service to the deep listening, to the journey, to the being in spaces like this that is so important. Networking, studying history, walking the land and the waters to pick up on my own ancient past, my soul's journey, histories and unspoken histories. Um, all of this. And so I've leveraged a good deal of debt in order to be able to continue to pay on the mortgage, which then I just hit a wall. And it was basically like Spirit just saying, like, that's done. And now you have to adapt. And so I then, have this foreclosure process as I'm figuring out, well, what does this mean and how do I adapt? And so the needs, just for the basics right now, if Leaf cannot turn provision to me, then where do I eat? Jimmy's in a certain circumstance also to his embodiment of some of the colonized process that we can, reveal to come to decolonize. And I'll just speak that here because it really makes him a treasure to me, but it's a hardship. And I don't think Red Clover Kate, this might be something that you may have heard in the space with Michelle. I've shared somewhat of it in that space, but it's also I find like a lot of people, even if they sound like-minded, it's maybe not as safe of a space as something like this, I hope, is to really say, like, this is the situation. Um, Jimmy violated the border laws in certain ways a few years back he was living in Texas. So Sister Shonda's in Central West Texas, and I'm curious exactly where. So he's living in Texas, and Jimmy, if you want to hop on and speak this for me, go for it. But I know sound is tough where you are, maybe, but feel free to unmute and come on screen if that works for you. He was living in Texas and was hitting a wall on working as a mechanic in a high performance diesel shop with a group of a lot of guys who were working, most of whom were of Mexican descent, because Jimmy had a severely ruptured three ruptured discs in his back. And then the pandemic hit, and the question was, how does he provide for himself, his family? And then many of these guys were working for him and their families. And how do you do this in the context of a pandemic where all of a sudden people are not paying for high performance diesel truck work, and everything just stopped? And so over the course of some time was, and part of this was just to earn money so that money could go around and take care of the needs. And some of it was because there are needs for people to be transported and have access to opportunity and to their families. And Jimmy's a soul who goes, we are all of the earth. I don't really care those rules about the borders and the boundaries. I'm going to give people rides if they need rides. So I was driving people from one place in Texas to another place in Texas, and these people had crossed the Texas-Mexico border. And so it's a felony to do this. And Jimmy was caught and served a year in prison and is still on federal probation, is on release. But his life is impinged upon due to this, and his back is in severe pain, constantly unremitting, because of not being able to have some medical procedures that hopefully we hope can remit some of that pain. So he too is like, I just feel like very noble in declaring by his life that we are all of the earth and that these boundaries are senseless. And that when we come together to just provide assistance to one another, that that's what matters. And so the women who are coordinating these rides, you know, were saying to him and to them who were, you know, getting people transportation, like, thank you, you're our angel, we pray over your safety, right? But the feds don't see it the same way. They see, oh, you've broken a rule and we can get you, and then a bunch of manipulation and you know, lack of warrants, and then, you know, pressures for manipulation. So how do you end up making a bargain and whatnot? So we're in the midst of that and figuring out how to just be able to help him walk, um, eventually walk into his own freedom from the federal probation system, with threat. You know, I mean, if they were to say anything about, well, we don't like what you've done about XYZ, you know, he could go back in. So I have to be careful to protect him as I go and kind of this ruthless path until he's free and doesn't have some of that vulnerability. And yet he's very dedicated to helping me figure out what this path is. And it's such a strange thing because I feel such abundance internally with the connection to the land and with whatever is working its way out. And yet there are times where we're like, hey, which one of us can electronically send the other person right now $50 so that we can eat and we get the basics met? And there are a number of people in my network who are like, oh, this is brave what you're doing. And, you know, some of them are literally in billionaire families and they don't have $5 to extend. They don't want to really ask. They don't really want to know. And I understand that that's just part of how the world is and how we've built it. But, you know, I shed a lot of tears about it and about the not knowing, like, how do I walk this path? And I'm not resourced. It's not like I've depleted my bank of wealth through the privilege that I've had for education and a former career in service of this. And I think that had to happen because I had to hit this wall of facing these colonized mechanisms between me and the land in order to come into space like this with the bold, you know, kind of offering of it and the big question to this creator of, how do I serve this? What is this call? But I just want to put here, like, it's not easy. You know, it's hard. And Kate has met Luke, who is so bright. And I met these two just under a year ago, and they came to my home because I was renting it out on Airbnb in order to make money. And they've changed everything. And we don't even, now we're, you know, 1,200, 1,300 miles apart on either side of the Mississippi. And we don't even know how to be able to have a visit together because of the finance and Jimmy being stuck. So things are difficult. So I just ask for prayer for us to be sustained and for us to keep love and hope forefront, and to find the wisdom way, knowing that, like, we need to do that. um, and we have to be very careful because of his status. So, thank you so much.
I would like to
Right.
speak to this really quickly. I'm so glad that I kept my phone plugged in.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to say one thing, Jenna, Jimmy, you need to pay close attention. You need to contact me in private. This is private conversation. Half of the Earth Mother Network is underground. Paint mental pictures. Get a hold of me. Much love, family.
Thank you. Yeah, my feeling of this underground, like a balance between deep underground roots for privacy and safety and protection, and a big message, you know, on the waters, fully in broad daylight, that it's going to be this brilliant mix of those things that we can all do together that can, like, I just feel like it just breaks these shackles free somehow. And
Oh, Jimmy's son.
God.
I just spotted Jimmy. Jimmy, one of my children is named Ken Worth. Go play with that. You'll meet. He's a shy, short of Superman, leaps buildings in tall bounds, and knows how to run on the underground. So much love, family. I gotta go to sleep. If I don't, I gotta stop listening to y'all so I can sleep. But yeah, Jenny, you need to contact me ASAP. We need private soon. I'm gonna
Perfect.
introduce you to some people.
Thank you, thank you. And I'm reading in the chat too, so I'll touch base in that way. Thank you for such beautiful receiving us. Thank you. We'll be in touch.
Erica,
Yes, Jenna, please reach out to me here as well. Just to let you know, Shonda and I are very close. And I feel a real kinship with all of you. I don't know what we can or how much support we can offer, but I give you my word, my commitment, which I make sure I honor, that we will do whatever we can to improve those circumstances. I understand, and please feel no shame or guilt that there are those in this world who love and will support in whatever ways we can, the best we can. And I put in my phone number, my email address,
Thank you.
and anyone, please reach out.
Thank you. We will. I think the big thing, I just want to acknowledge here, is like there's a lot of equity in the house. I mean, I could sell it for over $1 million and come out with about half of that, and then, some taxes and things. But I mean, there's money that could be extracted. And have had this pause. It's like, no, this is not to be exchanged. It cannot be sold. It can't operate that way. And I've honored that. But what it really means, like for Jimmy, or not being able to pull a loan with equity to like get money flowing is like, then I have to say, like, I have nothing for you when it's not that much money that it would take to like help his back. I mean, he's in agony every day. And I think initially it was confusing to him, like, if you love me and you love Luke and you see this, like, why can you not do something to leverage that land for wealth, get this circulating? And it's just been like this stronghold that there's something greater here. And if you walk this walk with me, I feel like in time it will be revealed and it will provide somehow in the way that the Earth Mother does, through healing and love and abundance and freedom. And that we'll find it. But it's this walk of a lot of challenge as we do it. And then that conflict for me of, how do I do this, balancing all of that. So I just thank you for witnessing and just being willing to bear this with me and with Jimmy, because it just feels important, that I do this, and I just also acknowledge like his pain, and it's very real. But there's I just feel like there's something so radiant that does shine through it when I just keep holding steady. And it reminds me, actually, I had an astrology reading with a yogi that I started studying with after I had big spiritual awakening energies come through, and I didn't know, like, what is this? And he helped me balance some things out. And a lot of it also was like the land, the earth was activating, and it was activating me. And then a lot of the spirit energy on the land was activating me and talking to me and teaching me. And I was needing to learn how to have a more stabilized container of my body mind to hold all of that. And he looked at my chart and he said, you're got a lot of power in Taurus. And it stuck with me, and it's always been with me. He said, that means you can really hold your ground when it's important for you to do that. And so it became very literal in these years since, that like I am holding my ground there, and I can do it with a lot of bullish stubbornness when needed, in a way that isn't always easy for those around me to understand. Also has a very soft heart of like that mama cow, who says like, drink from me, eat from me, I give, this is life. We're grounded, we're rooted here. So it just really helps me to have witnessing of this. So there's
Well, you've shown
other
incredible,
spaces where this is so possible. So thank you.
you've shown incredible courage just to share this today. And I know the way I choose to operate. Your story is your story to tell. It's not mine, nor will I move forward with that. I will hold it as sacred. If you choose to share it on because you have incredible people in the networks where you show up, I know because I'm everywhere you show up. And I have to be to hear and witness what is transpiring because we were called to be here in service. And I know the pain of discrimination, injustice, even imprisonment for the things that I've held dear. It's taken many years of my life, but you know, I have no complaint, no anger or grief from that. We are all here for a purpose, and we go through things for a purpose that at that moment in time we don't understand. And then suddenly you're heard, you're really heard, and we get it. And that's the courage I'm speaking about that I've seen from you today. I've always seen that beautiful, loving nature from you everywhere. So I'm holding you. And besides, I'm a Cancer and you're a Taurus. I know we're going to get along just fine.
Very good. Yeah, I'm Taurus moon and Taurus rising and Gemini sun, but I love Cancer. And right now it's your season. And I feel that the power of the waters. Thank you.
So the practical way forward to move forward matrilineally, sovereign, you know, that really is what the issue is. And that's what we have to keep coming back to and bring the tools. And there are some people who weren't able to join us today who have some experience that hopefully will be coming in the coming weeks. And I want to thank Shonda for sharing her experience, and would ask also if, you know, if she has boilerplates or things that she's worked with, you know, that she thinks could benefit us moving forward. That would be great. And I'm going to welcome Golden Wolf back into the circle, and also ask if Jimmy wanted to speak, or if he's not, if he can. And welcome Jimmy to the circle. So I'm going to ask everyone to consider if there's anything final that they'd like to share. And then I'm actually going to ask Asani Bagwo if she will do the here's Golden Wolf. Welcome back, Golden. So if there's anything final that anyone would like to share at this point.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping we'd just hear from Jimmy once. I love to hear all voices in the circle, and I just want to thank you all for your time and sharing, and who knows where we can go.
I know he's having storm there. He was texting me that there's a very loud storm, but maybe if you go off camera and just put the phone close, you might be able to hear. We might be able
That's
to.
right. He's in a car with the loud storm. I did get
But we might be able to hear you if you go off camera and then just speak right into the phone or give it a try. It's amazing what the Zoom filtering can do, that we might be able to hear you anyway. Maybe he disappeared. So he'll join us maybe next week. He'll come on another time, I'm sure, if he doesn't have the ability to come back. But yeah, they get these big summer storms down in Louisiana that are really powerful.
Because that becomes really true. Here's Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy's back. All right. Jimmy, would you like to say? You're welcome.
He just connected to the audio, so you may want to ask him again.
All right.
So,
Jimmy, feel free to unmute yourself and introduce yourself
Hi,
if you're.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right,
Welcome.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I mean, really, I've been through a lot. Me and Jenna really met, and it was kind of like a tractor beam towards each other, kind of something we really wasn't looking for at the time. But beforehand, before meeting Jenna, you know, the biggest things in my life have been, you know, a lot of care towards everyone in general, and you know, trying to help as many people as possible, um, while kind of not, you know, holding space for, you know, the future in a manner of selfless, you know. Um, so the inability to prepare for, you know, things that might have arrived, and more so building and continuing to care for others, have put me in a place to be not necessarily taken care of, where, you know, normal people would be, I guess, more involved with their self and savings and such of that, and then put into a really bad place because of government and control, power, manipulation. And I immediately seen through that, you know, and knew that it was more based on all of that and what they will do. You know, the powers that be, the lengths they will go to control and manipulate is unreal. And so I have a huge, huge, you know, I guess, drive to, you know, remove myself from that and my children and try to live this earth in a different way based on that. And then, you know, just trying to live day to day and get through that as well, you know, is it's very difficult. And, you know, I don't know how the masses of people are even, you know, doing their day-to-day activities. It's unreal. And so the main goal is to get this out to everyone, for everyone to understand that there is another way. There is, you know, a way to get out from underneath that control and power. But it's got to happen fast because people are losing that every day. They're just sitting down and pretty much just saying, yes, sir. Yes, sir. What can I do? How can I do this? And their minds are not thinking, you know, how can we do this together? It's what do you need? In other words, what do I have to do? Get a job, go to college, get a job, pay taxes, and, you know, never own their real land, never just be in the presence of that gift of birthright. We all have a birthright, and that has been lost. That's the main thing that I have to say is, the birthright has been lost.
And I'll just add here for context that, as Jermaine said, he doesn't have much right now because of having been in a selfless service mode, that before imprisonment, between what the Fed seized and then what his own father took while he was in prison after the sale of the shop and the building that he had built as a mechanic in Dallas, that's a few $1,000,000 that was taken. So he had built a lot to take care of himself and other people in his family, and the guys at the shop that he considered as an extension of family. So when he says, I didn't have much, I didn't really prepare myself in that way. So what do I stand on now? I mean, this was a person who was, hardworking, hard earning, had an ability, and watching him, kind of go through what he is going through now is, well, it's humbling for both of us, and we take it, for the gift that it is of empathy, of really, like, many people live close to, um, having or not having enough to stay hungry or not. And in former ways of our experience of privilege, that wasn't a direct knowing, and now it is. And so it brings us a bit closer to many, many, many people of the earth, and that real sense of, yeah, what is the true birthright? What's the true wealth? And how do we stand up for that together?
Right. And how do we stand on supporting and strengthening the rights of Grandmother Earth herself and the original people, and come back into alliance with that which is original and natural law. So again, anyone have anything to share before we close the circle? And it's Nibagwo, I'm gonna ask you to do the closing.
Hi, okay, so I was listening to Jenna, I believe, right, about Jimmy, right, with the legal system. And the one thing that I did not share with everybody is that I ran with my daughter. So when they were coming to get my daughter, I knew they were coming, and I ran with my daughter. And they end up charging me with kidnapping my own daughter that was in my care. And because I did that, I went on the run with my girl. That's when my ancestral blood come. I had to run with my daughter, and it was just, and then they end up finding me, charging me, putting me in jail. So right now I'm fighting a charge of kidnapping as well. So I'm in the legal system too. And my daughter is over there. So now I'm battling a legal system with the CPS, with the government of Canada. And I'm pulling out all the stops, right, with my matrilineal line, with my rights as being an Indigenous, with a Native woman of the land, right? Original Native woman of the land. I've created documents, and it's a constant battle. But I have a song I'm gonna sing. I'll do a closing song to say
Wait, I want to ask you to pause. Golden Wolf has his hand raised. So
okay.
let's him in.
Um,
Golden
hi,
Wolf.
hi, I just wanted to say, as we're talking about lands, and talking about how the original people of these lands are losing their lands and waters to foreign elites, foreign entities that our federal governments and administrations decided to work with without our consent, again, right? Without the consent of the people. Not only that, up in Canada, the United Nations initiative has this indigenous identity theft going on right now, making all people, the so-called Asman nations that work with the federal government, that work with the crown and the United Nations are willing to sell out, and they have barely any native blood. They want to become the biggest nation in Canada, and they're going to grab lands from innocent people. They want to exterminate the treaty rights here, we are unfortunately living under the crown and under the Roman law, civil law. And if we're going to change anything, we must stand up to the federal government and rid of these foreign elites from our country so that we can become sovereign beings again and work with a government that is independent of foreign, foreign elites, foreign entities. We need to go back to our roots and preserve and defend our lands and waters and our rights and freedoms and our treaty rights, because otherwise our future generations will inherit a world in which they cannot. So, in my opinion, how do we make things work? Is, everyone's always doing something else. But if we all come together on one initiative, then we hold power in that initiative all collectively. If there's a way to become sovereign and fight that system and protect our future generations, maybe we should listen to Eagle's way, and all follow in that direction. If there's a petition for us as a nation together here to become independent of the federal government, let's all of us sign that petition. Let's all of us join that kinship family, let's say. Let's all join that, because otherwise it won't work, because every other nation is doing something else. But if we come together, a new initiative like we are building, like the kinship way, you know, then we have a chance as we stand together. And we are many, they be few, remember. And we know who we are, where we come from. There's a lot of people who will not let these foreign agendas happen. They will rise and they will stand. We just need to lead by example. Lead by example and defend ourselves, uh, educate ourselves about the treaty rights, about land and water acquisitions, because it's all about lands. It's always all about lands. Even all the wars in the world are all about lands. You know, um, we must arm ourselves with that knowledge that's being shared and collectively work together and stand together, because then we are heard, then we have a presence, then we cast a shadow, you know? That's all. Thank you,
Yeah.
guys. Sorry, I had to
Thank-
jump into another Zoom and back here.
No, that's fine. And that's why we, come forward with the declaration for the White Buffalo, Rainbow White Buffalo, and White Buffalo Nation, and Rainbow Buffalo Nation, and we discussed the possibility of incorporating the kinship way as a way to bring clan system to ourselves moving forward. Um,
I know a
Eagle,
clan mother that wants to return to a clan system and wants to be a clan mother of a sincere, good nation.
yes,
You know who?
yes, hi,
Yeah.
Eagle. You
Yeah,
have your
I just wanted to say as well, this isn't like my way. This everything I'm talking about and have learned is from an old savage
Yeah.
named Meredith Quinn. And I can see from his teachings and explanations and knowing how all these words tie together that it is, in my belief, the Creator's way. That was the original epiphany of when I first learned the signatory Indian. It was like an epiphany that the Creator existed, because you could actually express it to that white man in a legal way, lawful way, that they honored it. And the rest is history.
and that's why the declaration was written in the way that it is, based on those principles and standing on the ancient treaties and recognizing the sovereignty of Grandmother Earth, Grandmother Moon, and Creator as Sky Woman. So, and this is something new, and also that I keep saying to people, I'm just here holding the door open. We're all equal, and we're all new to this, and so thank you everyone for being here. And again, I'm going to ask if anyone has final words, and then Asinibago will close us with a song. Golden Wolf, please.
Yeah, because I just want to add, and Ego will confirm, it's not a new thing. It's actually very old. We're digging back to the old ways, and these are the old ways. This is dictated by natural laws. Natural laws come from Mother Earth, from Creator. So we are going back, really. This has always been here, but it's been denied. It's been shut down. Me and Ego spoke about it, did a 3 part video a couple years ago. Nobody wants to hear it. They shut it down because they have another agenda. They don't want people like us to become independent of them. So that's why this idea has been around for a long time. We've both been telling people about it, but people don't want to hear it. So let's listen to it and use it to our advantage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and jump in here. And you thought I went to sleep. Okay. Here's the thing. There's some beautiful wisdom in this room right now, and a lot of clarity for paths forward. But there's something you have to understand. Even a PMA and claiming sovereignty like what Earth Mother Nation did, and even me as being the clan mother over that for many, many years, there is still a documentation called your founding documents and your bylaws. See, so when you join a sovereign nation, thinking that you're going to be sheltered within that nation, you are still subject to its bylaws. So, what we have done here at Earth Mother, we are private. We don't go around just bringing everybody in. And we've never been that way because we're an educational platform. We're here to be in service to humanity through educating and through holding circles like this to where others may come in and teach of wiser way and wiser counsel. And this is the glory of us all standing together as sovereign and working with each other within the sovereign groups that each one of us have. Everyone in this room is here supporting Earth Mother Nation. Think about that. You're in this room gathered under this banner, but yet you're being led by a clan mother from another nation. Think about that. You got a clan mother running this Zoom and another clan mother holding council in this room. So if all of us can form our own sovereignty, that is truly the key. The key is learning these wisdoms and going doing it yourself, and then joining as a union of souls with all of the other sovereign nations, because that is where the force of numbers come into play. You have to be able to stand alone in your strength and in your voice. You have to be able to know how to talk the language, just like what Eagle Eye is teaching is corporate languaging versus common language. You have to understand the language of the earth, and that is the wisdom that he is speaking of, and that wisdom is ancient, and we need to connect to that wisdom. And we need to get back into that sovereignty that this earth was created with, and that we all came into that creation under before. And see, here's the thing. I can stand here and say, okay, well, I am Shonda and I am an entity through my social security number of the corporation that was filed by the United States. And we all understand that drama. But then I can also say, but I also own absolutely nothing. I own nothing. There is nothing anyone can take from me because it is under the trust of our nation and under the sovereignty of that nation. So that's the thing where you have to get. And it's not necessary. And here's the thing, the seventh generation, the youth need to be trained while they're young to stand and go into full sovereignty while you can, if you so choose to stand up in your youth and give your driver's license up and do all that. But understand, you better damn well be prepared when your knee is busted at the age of 67. You better damn well be prepared to take care of yourself. So if you're going to stay in the system, some of us just got started late. You know, I spent a world of years in corporate America feeding the Social Security Administration and the Medicaid administration. I have no intention of giving that up because I fed that system. That system owes me. That system supports me now. I'm on Social Security, and I anything I ever need is covered through my Medicare and my Medicaid. See, so you got to understand, we can be sovereign and still be in the system, but if you're young enough to where you can stand up, there is a group right now that Jenna, you and Jimmy need to meet. Their name, Amani and River. They have a PMA, Private Membership Association, in Tennessee. It's been going about a year. They had one here in Texas, which we supported while they were here. They went out all over the US looking for their future home for their family. And I don't mean just him and her, I mean the family, their entire sovereign nation. And they went there. And when they moved in, they're building Hemp Creek domes. They've got their tiny houses up. They've got their homestead up and going. And then there is another one, Atlanta Bliss, in her community that is also in Tennessee. Zach's just started in Tennessee, and that's where everybody seems to be going, is just in Tennessee. So the thing is, um, I would suggest you go to ic.org, as in intentionalcommunity.org. That is the Fellowship of Intentional Communities, and go look around. You can search by state. Go search all the intentional communities in your state. Find the ones that are closest to you and go out and look how they're operating, because that's where you need to go. This isn't just about figuring out how to get out of the government. Do it. This is so much deeper than that. Because what happens when you do that? Well, that means you're totally self-supporting. That means you better know how to homestead. You better know how to get your hands in the dirt. You better know how to grow your food. You better make sure, if you intend to feed milk to your children, you have a goat, preferably a goat. It's much better than cow's milk. So there's things like that to know. And then you better understand cash crop. You better understand commodities and how to raise commodities that are worth money on the market, to where you can trade amongst each other and trade on the outscale. So there's so much to understand. This isn't just about being free as a man. We all want to be free as a man. So that's some forethought going forward. And I would love everybody to meet back here tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Anybody that can. We're going to kind of look at we're headed into a brand new fire ceremony this coming Sunday. We've lost our lead firekeeper by her own choice. And, this is going to be totally different. It's kind of sad for me, but, others have stepped up to help carry this ceremony forward. And we really need to talk and think, because this is a Sunday is a big thing. Sunday is live stream to many, many nations. It's live on Walking the Red Road, which is over 225,000 people. We do this once a month, and it's a pretty big thing. And it's in the Global Fire Room. It's not here in the gathering. So if you guys can get back, not just check it'll be all over the place. I put the Facebook event in the chat earlier. So I would love for you guys to come and be with us on Sunday as we light the eighth fire. And in the calling of community, we've got to come together once a month and be together. And I mean, this is serious tobacco down, prayers up right now. If you think about it, look around you. Look what happened last weekend. I rest my case. That I've been through so much this week, and I mean I'm euphoric. I'm euphoric over the beauty of what has transpired. Last night, if you guys were in this room last night, I rest my case with that. Right? So here's what I'm saying: it's like we carry on, because that's who we are, and that's what we're called to do. So I am truly going to sleep, and much love to all you guys. And let's try, if you guys can get back in here tomorrow. We're going to be off council. We're not going to be recording. It's going to be an open sharing circle. And there's a lot more I would like to get into with this conversation, Jenny, with you and Jimmy. There's a lot of things that can be done right now. And I don't want to get into those questions right now. We're still recording. But that's to add to this moment in time here on this recording with this group of people. This conversation today has been absolutely remarkable, and I'm just so blessed to be in the presence of everyone. So, and with that, are we going to do a closing, and then I'll shut down your recording, Lisa, and we'll move?
I'm just going to ask Eagle if there's anything he'd like to add or respond to what you just shared.
Other than I understand about using that entity to get services and things, but my understanding of what can be fully achieved is that you collapse that trust, set up your own trust, collapse that trust that you're getting those benefits paid from your trust anyway, and have all those assets your estate transferred into your own trust. And that is literally in the billions of dollars figure. That's what everybody has in their, pretty much in their trust accounts.
Well, I have done that R&D, and those that have tried, it has not worked. And until I see that, and I'm not saying that's not correct, brother, because I respect your wisdom, and I'm always open-hearted and open-minded. I need to speak to someone that it has worked for, to find out what was done wrong in the other situations, because apparently something was done wrong. If it's worked somewhere, that means there's a different method, a different path. And
Yes.
we've already looked at it. Until I see the correct path and I have that wiser counsel of step. Because here's the thing, um, uh, 2 or 3 situations, they just filed one paper before another. It's totally screwed it up. So, I've seen that, and I've seen others that claim they did everything correctly, and I've seen the step by step, and it's according to what we were all told to do. But, until I would really like wiser counsel, another session, and, actually have conference with those elders that did that. And I call them elder. They could be a 23-year-old woman. I don't care, because if they've done it, that's an eldership wisdom. And that's something different from an elder, but you understand what I'm saying. And those things need to be taught. Those are wisdoms and specialties we all need to learn and understand. So that's the kind of wisdom I want to see come into this room and to these circles and to these situations, because the people we run with have been working with that. Brother, I've been on the computer in the back room of the Social Security. I've seen the back door. I've been in the back door. I've seen it. I didn't get there. I was in a room where the people that knew how to get there. I've seen it. I've been through the entire NESARA thing. I mean, we've tried to collapse it so many times, and we've just never been successful. And that's where we need more wisdom. We need to know what we're doing wrong. And with that, I close, brother. Just if you can think about that, that's something else that we need over here still. Because yes, I would do it in a heartbeat. But until I'm not doing that. I'm not in a situation to. Brother, I've been in a leg brace for a year. I'm not doing that. I'm too wise of a woman to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, brother.
Yeah, I comprehend what you're saying, where you're coming from. And like I say, I found a site that's got knowledge of how this is to be done. and I'm pursuing it at the moment. So once I get it, though, you'll know.
Well, wonderful. We'd love to see it happen, because that's been the lead story that all of us sovereign seekers have been searching for years, is how to collapse that trust and have it put in our, over in within our trust. And
Yep.
we've never, my accounts are set up in the trust, sitting there waiting. I put $100 in them. I pay annual fees on them, right? We all know that. So, but no, there's nothing has ever happened. Everything we've ever tried. This is about probably a 12-year journey for me now, and many different conference calls I've been on this, and working with very many different groups. And like I say, it's you understand the philosophy of the numbers. Eventually the numbers fall. They have to. They fall into place because that is the nature of the numbers. It's when you give up and walk away. If you come back, it's the power of momentum. There's a story out on YouTube of the power of momentum. You ought to look that up. It was actually put on YouTube from an article in Entrepreneur Magazine that was written by Arm & Hammer. The baking soda? It's spelled ARM, Arm and Hammer. Okay. Well, the creator of the Arm and Hammer legacy is named Armand, ARMOND, Hammer. He's a millionaire. He's passed over now. I think his children, that was like 2 generations ago already. So Arm and Hammer, the baking soda you buy in those yellow boxes, it's synthetic baking soda. Who knew that? You'll see about all that if you get into the R&D about it. I got into his R&D just because I'm a naturalist, and I heard, and I went and did. I said that's bullshit. I went and did the R&D, and yeah, it's not. He discovered how to chemically make baking soda. So it's friggin' very, very close. You can make trace elements in a lab. We make synthetic gemstones all the time in labs, right? So the whole nature of this babble here is that he spoke about momentum. And they said, how did you do this? Here you are. I think the interview, he was like 98 years old or something. I said, how are you still going? Because he was still showing up at corporate America every day. And he says, what's the power of momentum? Well, please elaborate. What do you mean? Well, and he used a steam engine as an example. And when you start a steam engine, it takes a lot of work. You do an awful lot of back breaking shoveling of coal, and you have to stay on it. But the minute it's like all of a sudden that heavy ass wheel starts spinning, but once that train's moving, that train is being forced forward by the power of momentum. Momentum is not just a word, it's an energy, right? So when momentum takes over, and then he used the example that from there, you just simply sit back with your feet kicked up, and you can chunk that coal and, flip it with your fingers, you can, as long as you stay consistent, but it's not back breaking shoveling anymore. So that's the power of momentum. And what we need to do, we need to get those gears turning, and we need do a lot of hard work, and we need to shovel some coal. And then that's where Earth Mother's at. I'm sick. I couldn't walk away till I was 67 years old. Well, 66. I'm 67 now. So it took me 66 years, and we're really nowhere. We're calm, and we're just commonplace. We're nothing big, nothing huge. I mean, friggin' Haven Earth in the last 2 years in Tennessee, my God. They did what took us probably 12, 14 years to get done in 2 years. And that's momentum. And that's the clicking where, we're in between worlds. We're in that place, the individuals speak of, past the world that is no longer, on our way to the world to come. And you can feel that we're in that paradigm shift, you know, and it's like it's just a folding of time. You can't track this mess. You can't. You know, time's collapsing all around us. We're headed to another dimension, and that's where we're at. And I gotta go to sleep. I really do. Okay, was somebody doing a closing, or did I run everybody off?
I think Golden Wolf is
Okay,
waiting.
wonderful, beautiful.
I just wanted to say, if I was to go with any initiative to run for independence or sovereignty, anything like that in the system we are currently living in, and I would just not do it until we take down the crown. Period. Because until we live under Roman law, we cannot accomplish anything. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. Yeah. And if anyone wants to do a closing, go ahead. If not, I can do it. But
Shouldn't that,
for me, as long as we are under that Roman law ego, you know what I mean. It's they designed it in a way you cannot accomplish anything. Just like those people trying to axe the tax, kind of the first initiatives, they're not gonna achieve nothing in this system. You know. I know there's loops, there's ways, but we need to be all in, right? The crown
Aye,
is the
aye.
problem. Yep.
Eagle, you were going to speak?
um, no, other than it was an honor to be here. I'll pass for the moment.
Um, uh, Golden Wolf, I think that Asini Bagua was going to do the closing.
Is she here or not?
Is she here?
I am here. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so go ahead, please.
I'm here. Okay, I'm gonna sing a song that's it's a song about our women. So up in here in my language, we call our women Anishinaabe Kwe. Okay. So this is a song for the women. This is a song for all our matrilineals. This is a song for all of us to come together. Hey ho, hey ho, hey ho, hey ho, hey hi, hey ho, hey hi, hey hi, hey hi, oh yeah. Hey hi, oh well, hey ya, hey oh. And it's now there when I'm in the golden, I'm in the golden. Patina binda goma, when Johnny, hey, 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 ha, hey, hey, ha, hey, oh, hey, hi, hey, oh, hey, hi, hey, hi, hey, hi, oh, yeah. Hey, hi, oh, well, hey, hey, oh. And it's strawberry when I'm in the golden, I'm in the golden. Patina bindage homa, bewene janine, wea heo. Hey, ha, hey, hey, ha, hey, oh, hey, hi, hey, oh, hey, hi, hey, hi, hey, hi, oh, yeah. Hey, hi, oh, hey, hey, oh. Strawberry when I'm in the golden, I'm in the golden.
Hakina bindage kuma Revene janine Hwea heo Hwea 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 Aksina bindage soma Revene janine Hwea heo. Oh, Nakanagana, Rich.
Wupata Miigwech. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Shonda. It's gonna go up.
Thank you, everyone. Jimmy.
Miigwech. Motto people. Much love. I'm up here.
Hi, hi.
And as tradition in the gathering, if I can on my phone, I don't even know how to stop a recording on my phone. How funny. Okay, here we go. I guess. Let's try the little three dots. I cannot find how to stop the recording, I guess. I guess we'll just all have to leave or something. I don't care. I cleared the cloud. I mean, we could probably record for 5 hours before it shuts us down. But nope, I can't find it. Let me see. Ah, I found it. Ah, okay, much love.